Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the Community Live Stream. This is the show that takes you through the ServiceNow community on a journey of discovery, not only giving you the answers, but the thought process, the learning, the experimentation, the everything behind what goes into those answers, at least everything in my head. My name is Chuck Tomasi. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie doing the light green, dark green motif, just like the cover art you see on this video. It comes up every once in a while. This is join me for the next hour or so. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's totally unscripted. As you can tell, I fumbled my way through this and I've been doing it for about a year. Let's get on with the pre-roll. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe at the link you see right over here and get notifications. Let's see if we have those beautiful notifications. Yes, we have one today. That's awesome. We also have one from Twitch. So you'll get those notifications if you subscribe to either that URL or follow the channel on Twitch that is listed right there as well. If you like something, if you find something in the next hour that is helpful, useful, interesting, maybe even mildly entertaining, give it a like. If you're watching this on the community, give it a like there as well. Give me a shout out in the chat on either of those two venues. Good morning to Carolyn Ramsport and Lilit. Good to see you again. Good to have you back. I look forward to spending a few minutes with you and the rest of the gang that is showing up. We'll get them started as we do this pre-roll. If you've got something more than just a good morning shout out, where are you, whenever you are, where said that twice, wherever you are, something like that. You got to remember it's 6 a.m. here in usually sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Right now it's dark Phoenix, Arizona, and I will get on with it. If you've got something more than just the community, just the comments, it's going to be an interesting day. If you've got something more than just the comments, be sure to post them in the community. You got a question about ServiceNow, your personal developer instance, which we'll get to in just a second. If you've got something about your organizational instances, or you've got a technical question, or product question, or whatever it is, go over to community.servicenow.com. Post it there in the right forum, in the right subforum, so you get the right audience. Post it once and only once so you don't confuse the people that are trying to reply to it and say, didn't I already respond to that? Wait, am I looking at the right answer for the right question? This doesn't seem to make sense. Why are there 3 posts, 4 posts, 5 posts on the same question? I don't know. Insanity ensues. So once is fine. And provide some context behind what you're trying to do, what the requirement is, what you've tried so far, any of your messages, screenshots. That's always helpful to put on the screen as well. Any information you can give, aside from posting thousands and thousands of lines of code, that's probably not going to be too helpful. That's going to be more confusing than anything else. So let's get on with it. We have the developer community over at developer.servicenow.com. If you haven't been there, please check it out. It's at developer.servicenow.com. And we have great blog entries from Andrew and Josh and Dave and the other developer evangelists. We've got free learning plans from Mary Ellen and Ben that are continuously coming out, so go check them out. Look forward to testing those out. Become stronger in your coding capabilities, become stronger as a developer so that you can take those skills back to your organization and provide more valuable solutions. There are technical best practices documented over there so you can avoid some of the issues around upgrading and performance and usability. Lots of great suggestions, topics at the technical best practices that are documented there. We also have a number of scriptable APIs that are available for whether or not you're interfacing with the database or the user interface, or you want to get something done in the background. It's all over there at developer.servicenow.com. You want to learn more? You want to meet with people that are doing this as well? Meetups are available as a menu pull down. Where is it? It's on the events, I think. Events. Otherwise, you can go on over to, let me get the right screen up here, over to meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow Dev Program and get that list that you see on the screen, as well as many others that are usually up to date. This is a time-based thing, so as you see this, it's Halloween. I didn't dress up. Oh, I was going to wear a hat or something. Sorry. I thought of it, and then the thought just went as I was going through the inbox this morning. So It is October 31st, but obviously these won't make sense if you're watching this in June or July of 2019 or 2020. These will have passed. But go over to the meetup link you see there, and you'll get the latest and greatest set of meetups if there is one in your area, if you're traveling to one of these areas. If there is not one in your area, please reach out to us. Working on getting one started in Singapore. I believe they have a meetup December 12th, but I want to double check that. They're still working on getting them into the fold, as it were. Next week will be some traveling as well. The week after, we've got other events that are going on around the country and around the world that I will be attending. We have Now Summit DC on November 5th and 6th, 5th, something like that. And there is a Washington, D.C., 7th. Now Summit DC is the 7th, and we'll be having the Now Summit meetup on the 8th. So I'll be out in that area. Not able to do as many of these as I'd like. Possibly a show on Monday, and then maybe Friday. I got to look at when I return. I don't remember if I return Thursday or Friday. We shall see. The following week is Now Summit New York. So just a show or two that week as well. So I try to bring these to you as often as I'm home and I'm healthy. And something from work doesn't interfere, something from home doesn't interfere. I will be happy to get up at dark 30, prep for the show, bring this to you, and all that good stuff. Okay, I dwelt on that slide long enough. What's next? We've got Tech Now coming up on November 14th. I know I said I'm traveling. I'm going to be doing this one from remote. I will not be here in the studio or even in the house or even in the county or the state of Arizona to bring you this one, but I do want to talk to you about Virtual Agent. There's a lot of great stuff. We are learning more every day as we prepare for this webinar and learning more about a lot of products. That's the fun about doing this job, is there's always something new to learn. And you can sign up now at the link you see down there, TN58Reg at bit.ly, and get signed up. Register. Let us know you're coming. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful webinar with Stacy doing most of the work. That's right. I started this snowball, and I am happy to let others help. Stacy's a wonderful, very smart resource. She does great presentations. She does great technical work. Can't say enough about her. So looking forward to seeing her there. The lady says happy Halloween trick or treats on ServiceNow. We'll see what tricks come up today. That'll be an interesting one. I also want to remind you that it's not too early to start thinking about knowledge. Go over to knowledge.servicenow.com. Keep your eye on that. Call for Speakers is coming out soon. Put something in the budget for you, for your boss, to make sure that you get to attend next year in Las Vegas. Looking forward to seeing you there. There's going to be a lot of wonderful people, and we will get on with that. Any code that we write today will be in the GitHub repo that you see there on the link right there on the bottom. If there is a set of code, scripts, whatever I do today that I save off to that folder, you can find it in a dated folder. It will say 2018-10-31. If it's not there, you start at the top, and you can reference any of the scripts, any of the code that we have on previous episodes, going back to, I think it was July. So for the last 3 months, we've got code. Even though this show is a year old, we're learning as we go. If you've got a suggestion, you want to let me know, drop me a line. Be happy to consider it. On with the rest of the content. Let's go into the community. This is community@community.servicenow.com. And looks like everything's technically running. We've got notifications. We got people showing up. It's Halloween. There's 2 things in the inbox. Let's take a look at unreplied questions, see what's come in. What are the correct answers for these test exam questions? You know what? I always wonder why people do this, but hey, let's find out. 1 question per post, please. This is a kind of weird exception. They're asking about exam questions. Let's see if we can help. Could somebody please help me with these test exam questions? According to the exam, green marked checks are the correct answers, but I'm not sure of all of them are correct. Questions are MC and ABCD answers, and they attached a Word document. Not going to open the Word document, not going to work on this one. Sorry, that's... I don't know if that's necessarily cheating on the questions to say what are the questions, what are the answers to these questions, because technically you're not supposed to be publishing the material from these exams. It is If it is a proctored exam, that's interesting how they even got this material. Unless they're remembering it from memory? Don't know. Multiple IDP for the same customer in ServiceNow. Ooh, that's interesting. I am working on an SSO issue myself around connecting up to Okta. So I'll have a little more SSO experience after this wonderful thing. We've got some more troubleshooting to do this afternoon, but as of this moment, it looks like everything's set up right. We don't have users in the sysuser table. We're trying to get the get Okta to say, oh, Jason wants to log in. Jason's not in the sysuser table. Let's go and provision him. Looks like it's set up right on Okta. Looks like it's set up right on ServiceNow. It's not creating Jason's account on ServiceNow for whatever reason. But Chuck is already in service in the sysuser table on ServiceNow. I can log in just fine with my AD credentials going through SSO. No problem. There's something wrong with that auto provisioning of users. It's not working. So GoToSearch. Let's see what GoToSearch says. In GoToSearch, the sort order is getting changed automatically. For instance, my user preferences sort number field from Z to A. But when I search in a particular incident form using the GoToSearch at the top sort, the order is getting changed automatically from A to Z. How to make it go to search for the user preference sort order. That's interesting. Let's check it out. I'm going to log in to my personal developer instance. Try spelling that correctly. I can't type my name. What are the odds that I can type my complex password? Oh, very good today. All right, and if I look at the incident list, let's pull up, say, all the open incidents. I have it sorted number A to Z. So let's switch something real quick. Let's go Z to A so that the highest number is first, and then we'll use the search. Hover over it and I search and type, performance. There's performance problems with email, performance problems with file share. Let's see what it says. So if I find the incidents, looks like it's sorting the same way for me. I don't know what's going on. They are searching for, just to make sure, they are using, they're using the search at the top. Yes? Yes, number equals 1049. Okay. Not the global search. Global search we just verified is working fine. So let's get rid of that. And let's say the number search up here, Inc. 0010011. If it's a unique match, does it really matter? I don't know. Let's go back to all. All then flips. Interesting. It does do something interesting to the search. Never noticed that before. How about ends with 1? Huh. Okay. Now, I know that if you say short description contains may, it always goes to an ascending search. Does it, in fact, change your user preference, though? Sys user preference.list. Incident DB order, short description. That is interesting. Okay, there's something else I want to try here. And I think I know why. I'm working on a theory. I've got something in my head. Let's go to number ascending. Actually, let's go to number descending and search this way. Ends with 1. And it stays that way. Okay, here's my theory. My theory is because you're using this number search, that is creating the breadcrumb. And I had mentioned this before, that the number search here, the reason this is picking number is because it's sorted on number. If I sort by short description, this defaults to short description. See how those two changed? They're linked. If I change it to, say, ascending opened, then the search text box up here searches to opened. Because these two are linked, it's also linking the user preference to sort by ascending. So that's the default. Doesn't matter how you've got it set, it's going to set it by ascending. That's just a functionality that's linked to that. If you use these column searches, it obeys and understands your search order. So that is my answer that I'm giving. Because the two are linked, that's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can do about that. Let's reload that because I think somebody may be already responding to this. The answer is no, nobody has responded to that. Okay. The search filter on the top is linked to the user preferences. If you change the column you sort, the search changes to that column by default. It took me a long time to figure that out, by the way. It's like, why is that defaulting? Oh, it's because what you're sorting on. If you sort by short description, the filter changes to short description. If you sort by updated, the filter changes as well. Because they are linked, it is changing your preference to sort ascending on whatever you sort or search for automatically. If you want to respect the user preference sort order, use the column search filter instead. And let's see if we can spell automatically correctly. There we go. So again, a little experimentation, a little bit of fun. Never know where it's going to happen. Good morning, Chad from Atlanta. Good morning to everyone. We need to ring the bell. We got one down. What else do we have in here? So, don't know. Do a little testing. Think it through. Find out what happens. And take a drink. Ooh, it's going to be a thirsty day today. Refresh this. See what else is new coming in. We've got unreplied. What are the correct answers for these test questions? Not going to touch them. You want to take a look? I'm curious. I don't even know if I have Microsoft Word on this machine. Let's find out. Download that. I think they're worth discussing. Nah, I don't have Microsoft Word. It's trying to open it in text edit. Okay, darn, sorry. Oops, closed the wrong tab. Let's get that back over there. Put it in the browser. First tab is Community. Am I still logged in? I'm still logged in. Good. All right. Glide schedule question. Was that the one from yesterday? I don't know. Let's find out. No, that was, well, no. No, not going to go into that one. Chuck Tomasi's theme used in... Just came in right now. Let's see what happens. Chuck has a very nice theme he uses for his personal developer instance. I've checked through some older videos, but I can't find the change of these themes might be covered in a video or not. Is it a personal theme he's made or downloadable from someplace? I really like the colors and the way they're combined. I would be happy to share these. They are a theme I came up with. I call it, I don't even remember what I call it, Now 2018. Oops, theme. Yeah, I call it Now 2018. It was done partly as an experiment to, get the theme up to date. The one in Madrid, systems are automatically going to have a system default theme that looks very similar, but it's actually a little better in terms of accessibility, and mine does have a bug in it. Don't know if you can see it here, but you can't see the pencil and star icons when you hover over the modules, or excuse me, the applications. You can see them when they're in the modules because they're nice and dark. So I've got to tweak that a little bit. Maybe we could turn this into a crowdsourced theme. The other thing is that when there's you can't see it here, but when there's something going on over here, it's white on white text on white background, so the little pill comes up a little wonky. But other than that, it's pretty good. Let me show you what the one for Madrid looks like. And I don't know if I can just scam this and pull it out. I haven't looked at what the theme settings are. Make that a little bigger. You can see that the buttons are green. There's been a lot more theming going on, whereas my buttons are still blue. I haven't gone to that extent to try and change them. So if I scroll down, I don't have a default button on here, do I? The links are blue. The eye icon is blue. Everything is still pretty much the same. All I did was the top and left, whereas the theming for Madrid, the Madrid system default theme, has gone a lot further. It's obviously got the new logo. The sidebar is close. They did not do the modules. The modules are actually slightly darker than the applications, but the contrast is better for the, again, green button, green icon, green breadcrumb, green gear. Pretty much everything that was blue is now this green, and it really gives a consistency throughout. Yeah, green link. If we had a button here that was green, that was blue, it would be green. So this is the new system default, and I can see that by going to theme, and I'm on system, and you can see what that looks like. So that's what's coming in Madrid. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All subject to change. We'll see what's happening. I would be happy to share what I've got. If you want to tweak it, absolutely go for it. Lalit says, when user logs in the first time, the field gets default to go-to search. And where does it default to that field? It's a user preference when you set that. So if I go to sys, let's go back to the incident list. I don't have it on here anymore. Incident, just because it's an easy list for me to look at. And I am now searching by ascending open date. If I look at sys user preference, that's the table name. And I search for mine, search for updated. This is the most recent updated. I've got incident DB order and incident DB order direction. It says the order is by field opened at, which is the actual field name. If I were to search by number, it would say number. If it was short description, it would be short underscore description. And the direction is either going to be blank or descending. So if I look at incidents, sort this, just flip the order, click it once, and then go back to user preferences. You can see my order direction is now DESC. That's where that's stored. So let's open this up. You know what? I can export that. I can export it. Let's go to System UI Themes. There's the themes. Here is my Now 2018. I don't have the image. You'll be able to get that from somewhere, I suppose. And do an export, XML this record, and I will attach that. So reply. Okay, I talked about this on the 2018-10-31 episode at about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Thanks for asking. I have attached my current theme here. Watch the video, and I'll have to make sure I bookmark this so that I can come back and put the link to the video in this article, which I will do. Attach my current, watch the video for additional improvements that can be made, like star pencil on the application menus. All right, now where's the attachment thing? Add attachments. Drag attachments here. Let's go to Finder, Downloads, drag that there, done, add. Be a little more nice about this. Thanks for asking. I call this Now 2018. Ding. Boy, if that wasn't a targeted sniper request, I don't know what was. I don't know that anybody else could have answered that question, but I think I showed it to somebody. I've got it on a couple different instances. It's grown on me. I kind of like it. Let's move on. Where are we? Any other questions in here? Andrew Barnes, oh goodness, I guess I had to stream just sitting there open. Morning, Andrew. Morning, Steve. This summer and winter, the days are getting considerably shorter. It's dark when I start this show, and it's getting darker when I end this show. You guys must have shifted your clocks recently. See, I don't shift my clock. That's how I can say this is always at 1 p.m. UTC. I think they did in London. I was looking at time is. I've got a... Oops, time is. And it says it's 6:25 here. It is 1:25 in London, which implies that they are no longer on British summertime. So the shift must happen, what, end of October? Paris is 2:25, Moscow, Beijing. I can always tell when people shift their clocks. Anyway, let's continue on. Knowledge search autocorrect feature for misspelled words. What? Let's see what this is about. Does anybody know if the search autocorrect feature works with the service portal when searching for knowledge base? I can get it to work in the ITSM side, but when I enable the two properties, suggest alternate search spellings, and suggest, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's kind of cool. Didn't know we had possible searches. Sign and confirm. Let's go back to new. We got a few more minutes to look through the new stuff. Multiple IDP context words, adding users to visual task board. Let's take a look. I'm not totally down with VTB. I know what it is and I know how to use it, but I've never really gone into the configuration, too deeply. Today's conundrum. When adding users to VTB or signing said users to a task, ServiceNow appears to reference the sysuser table, which contains both employee and non-employee records. How or where can we limit the search to only show employee records? Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see if it's somewhere in the documentation. VTB user. Visual Task Boards spoke. Visual Task Boards installed with visual. Because I imagine there's absolutely no reference qualifier in there, so you could assign terminate employees as well. Let me go to my favorite, the incident list, and create a VTB based on, let's just do one on state. Come on. Hang in there. VTB, show VTB on state. And he was saying the users show up everywhere. Users, add members. Okay, it is searching on active. Because remember, if you were watching yesterday, I've got Abraham Lincoln and Adele are not active. So it is filtering out active users. But can we put additional filters on there? VTB, add members. Add members to forum user. No, not forum user. I need to tear apart the community part of CSM and start learning more about that. Add or remove conversation members. Here we go. In Connect Chat, any member of a group. I'm not after Connect Chat. I'm after VTB. It's going to be in here. Add or remove task board member. That's it. Procedure, click the little person, add member in the user list, select add members. Doesn't say anything about configuring that. Interesting. Where in the documentation are we? Can we drill in further? No. Create freeform board, data-driven board, task board, task cards, task tools. I don't see that that's a configurable option. Next thing I'd look for is a property. So let's go to, do I have a favorite for properties? Yes, I do. I knew I did. sys_properties is the table name. And look for VTB. Upload limit 10. Let's look for board. VTB board upload limit, dashboard omit. I don't see anything that looks like it, but that doesn't mean there's not a property. So I don't see anything configurable in the properties for VTB or on the page. Let me see if I can find a product manager who can contribute any useful information to this. I like the idea. It appears that it is already using a default reference qualifier. Default reference qualifier of active equals true, because I have 2 inactive users that I have verified do not show up. It would be nice if we could add additional qualifiers to that. Another thing, hold on. There may be a script include. Sometimes there is. Sometimes there is. Let's go see. Anything with VTB in it? Yes. Board security. Get boards by user. Task security. Don't know if that's going to really give us what we want. They don't sound by name. Used for VTB board security where board members can perform actions on the board. Can access. Can user access. Is member of board. Doesn't look like. Hold on. Let's just search for. Whoop. Let's not do that. What in glory's name is going on? Find. Active. Yeah, there's one. That's the only one. Okay, let's check the other ones. Let's say where that contains VTB and script contains active. Run. Let's just see. Now, none of them are looking for active in there. Let's see. Properties in the or on the page. That script includes in there that we did check that. So, note to self, go check. I'll get that when I go through the show notes later and remind myself to go get that. So, interesting about VTB. Unless anybody else in the chat has any comments about where we can go look for any potential other VTB configuration locations, I don't see it. But those are the typical 2 places, properties and possibly script includes. But if it's not there, then it's probably hard-coded into the platform somewhere. All right, got a couple things in the inbox that are piling up. Let me do a quick refresh of the page. And let's go get those. 3 things that probably replies to earlier conversations, more than likely. Sebastian asked a question to mark this correct. He said, oh, that's the theme. Okay, so he likes the theme. Downloaded it. How's that for response? We got the question, we got it answered, and we got it correct within a few minutes. Fun. How to check use system performance issues and how to fix that. We had a question come in earlier from around 2497. I encourage you, if you're in the community, set your display name. It's going to default to your login, which is kind of hard. I like to address people in the replies and say, hi, Rom, or whatever you prefer to be called, instead of leaving it as empty or saying hi Rom to 2497. How to check the system performance issues and how to fix that issues. There are a couple of existing blog entries about performance around the system using stats.do. What's the other one? XML stats.do. So stats.do, I'm not going to get too deep into it here today. But if you type stats.do, I believe it's also in system diagnostics now. Didn't used to be. But no, that's memory stats. Where is it? Stats. Under system diagnostics stats, it runs this. And it doesn't look like it tells you a whole lot at first first thing you want to be familiar with is what release are you on? And it's going to be told to you in these first few lines. If you've got a mid server, you can always make sure that it's built up. I am using London. You can see that from build name London. And out here is patch 0. Be nice if the personal developer instances were a little more current, but patch 2 is now out. It's available on production instances, so you can get up to London patch 2. There's my instance name. The mid server is also concurrently using London patch 0. You can get that out of the release name. Sometimes support may ask you for this. They should know because they've got all this information available. And then there's servlet statistics, available semaphores, what's being used. Right now there's not a whole lot happening. You see that nothing's in use. There's database connections, background schedulers. None of the schedulers are working. There's 7 of them, 8 of them, 0 through 7. Take a look at this. Sometimes you'll see something running really long time, like a transaction may be stuck. Some user may be running some runaway query. You can always try and work on that. But normally this is a pretty quiet place. The other, there are a couple of good articles, as I mentioned, and good knowledge base article that's also available. We don't talk much about the support or the performance side. Wow. Performance troubleshooting guide. Look at the table of contents on that, baby. Make that a little bigger. So yeah, lots of things you can do. Let's even mention stats.do. Using stats.do to find trigger thread. It's mentioned 24 times in here. There's also the performance graphs that you can get on the system. That was the second article I linked to. So lots and lots of good information in there. Back to the inbox. I think I had that bookmarked to something I wanted to talk about. There, talked about it. Good morning, Snehal. Good to see you. Work notes timestamp issue. This one was also about user preferences, and I think I pretty much covered that. Said users going into their, they've got one particular user, when they look at the activity for a particular record, let's go to incidents, for example, and they look at the activity history, the work notes don't have, and the work notes are going to be identified with the yellow. So this is a work note, and they post that. Comes up down here. They don't have this time and date stamp on it. Other users are not having this issue. So somebody suggested a while back, if you check the user preferences, they didn't respond to that. So I looked through the thread and said, did you do this? Gave them a little more detailed information about what you need to do to get there. Go to sysuserpreference.list, look for all of the options that match that user. So right click on, say, Chuck Tomasi, right click, say, show matching, and then export that and delete those records. Does the problem go away? If it does, you know that it was a user preference issue, and you can start tearing into that. If it doesn't, then restore the XML, just import the XML file back in using the column menu, and you know that that's not the issue. Okay, I will try and let you know how it goes. That's what the response was. Very good. So we are all caught up with that. I think I've used up my backlog of other topics too. Let me see what else I had. We had, Glide. This is something that I don't use very often, but I used it yesterday and wanted to show you where and how I used it. I think we were going through some of this script yesterday, but we'll find out. So there is I had a need to get a user's reference record from the incident, and it almost followed this example exactly. So if you've got a reference field, you don't need, this is going to be a coding example, so let's just dive right into it. Let's say I have a number of things that are, we'll take the active incident. So var inc gr equals new glide record incident. I'm going to use the GlideRecord API to go get my incident records, and I'll say incgr.add query active true. I know I can do add active query, which is a shortcut for that, but I've had issues with that running in scoped applications. Some of these bespoke methods don't work, so I've gotten into the habit of just using the non-generic ones, and they work in scoped and non-scoped. And frankly, I think it's a little more readable this way. It says, look, I'm using the active field to do true. Nice thing about add active query, if it was available in Spoke, maybe it is now, I haven't checked it lately, if it's available in scoped applications, is that you can have a field called active. It's not U_active in a scoped app. Your tables are yours and your fields are yours, and we're not going to put a U_ in front of them. That's that. So you can start using some of these features like add active query. But anyway, moving on. IncGR, this is what goes through my head when I write these things. Add active query. Well, IncGR.next. So this is a standard thing for getting all the records around active incidents. So go get the incident table, get the active ones, and for each one, here's where this method comes in handy. Var user, normally I would have to do something like GlideRecord, sysuser, then do a if user.get on incgr.getValue caller ID. All right, that says go get me that record associated with the caller ID. And then I could do something with user_rec. Right? That's the way that I would normally do that. However, I'll leave that in there and I will comment that just so we say old way. Leave that commented out. Boom, 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 and then put in new way. The easier way to do this is to say var user equals incgr dot caller ID dot get refrecord. This is not a GlideRecord method, it is a GlideElement record. If you're talking about fields, fields are often referred to as elements. If you look in the system in Sys dictionary, the column is actually element. It's labeled element if I remember right. Yes. Let's go to configure dictionary and column name. Oh, it's going to make a liar out of me. Column name is actually element. Yes. Whew. Okay. You'll see this in a number of places. Element just means field. Whoever started writing the platform way back when is doing it that way. So this is a GlideElement, and in the getRefRecord, it is a member of the GlideElement class. So GlideElement has a GlideRefRecord, and GlideRefRecord, as you can see, go get all of them without a caller, try to query it. It does a get on that. Behind the scenes, it's doing the same thing. It says, what does caller ID point to? Go get the record off of that table. You don't even have to specify the table. But there's also another method that you may want to look at, and it's isValidRecord, because if there's a null value, this won't work. And I don't want to start using references that aren't valid. So if user.isValidRecord, right? Then do something with user_rec. Check to make sure it was a good read, i.e. caller ID wasn't null. If you try doing that, I don't know, this seems like you would get a null pointer exception somewhere in the log. We can try. But let's find out. Here's our do something. We're just going to do a gs.info user.getDisplayValue to print out the user's name. Copy that up and see if it runs in scripts background. How's my scripting today? Can I do a first try, first run? Run that in global, run, and sure enough, here is the user and there are the callers. None of them are empty, by the way, because I think it's a mandatory field. Shouldn't be empty. Let's make this a little more verbose. incgr.getValue get value number plus just add some display onto there. So we can see which user goes with this. I didn't order this, I didn't sort it, I didn't do anything. It's going to be in some crazy number order where we go 59, 7, 58, 2. You get the idea. Probably by sysid, syscreated, who knows. I'm sure one of these days I'll figure out what that sort order is. You could do a little experimentation. So save that off to our folder for the day. Not in the 29th, but in the 2018 1031 folder. Call that getRefRecord example.js. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. I will have that uploaded to the GitHub repository shortly after this video is done. Andrew says, getRefRecord is one of his favorite shortcuts. I love it. Steve says, use it quite often. Good. Good. I like that. What else did I have to talk about? Why is gs.eventQueueScheduled not work? This is another one that's rarely used, but we talked about events before. Obviously, they're trying to use this and it's having an issue, but I wanted to talk about the concept of events again real quick. Events are a way to just submit something into the system event queue, have the event engine process it, and pick it up and do something with it. If you look at the event log under system policy events event log, you will find that there are a lot of events that are happening by the system all the time. And I search by event created date descending. Let's get rid of glide.heartbeat. That just runs and says, yep, something's happening. User.view, I went and looked at a record or a list. Incident updated. You could trigger these yourself. There are a lot of them that are predefined in the system. There are some that are defined at the system level, but they are all, I don't know, all of them? Let's find out if some of these, event registry. There's also just event system policy events registry. These both go to the same, no they don't. That one's filtered. Interesting, that one's filtered on PA stuff. So here I've got one from an old Tech Now episode. You can define these yourself. Defining an event is very easy. There's a couple fields that are mandatory. One, the event name, which by default, good practice is to start with the table name. So I can say incident.chuck or incident.updated.chuck. Make sure that it is a unique name. You tell it what table to watch, in this case, incident. And these two are optional documentation for you. Who fired this? Where is it triggered? Where is this event? Where is the call to gs.eventQueue? Could be a scheduled job, could be a business rule, could be UI action. This is an event that I want the event engine to pick up and run in the background. Number of reasons you might want to do that. It's a great way to do background processing. It says it doesn't have to be done right now, but it does have to be done. I don't want to sit around and wait for it. I don't want the user to wait on the user interface. Almost a way of doing asynchronous business rules, but you're not triggering it by a database update. You're triggering it by an event. And these events can trigger an email, could run another script, that sort of thing. So the description is what it's going to do. And you can see down here what business rules and notifications are related to this event. And it will do a query to suss those out and help you attach how these things are connected. Because sometimes if you walk into an application that's already built, it's tough to put the pieces together. This is a way to help you do that. So let's get rid of that. We don't need the template bar down there. So defining an event is very, very easy. Does this have a comment on it? No. All good applications should have a tooltip over your fields. There's another best practice. If you're creating new fields, put a label with a tooltip on it. You can do that simply by hovering over the field, right-click, and say Configure Label. I'm sneaking one in on you. Yeah, I changed something, sure. And put in a hint, okay? Even the hint has a tooltip on it. So if I were to right-click on that and say Configure Label, you would see that Field label hint has a hint. Okay, put hints on your field. Anyway, back to events. The way you trigger these is, let's go to scripts background. I just have a shortcut to it. And gs.eventQueue, then the event name. We'll do incident.updated just for fun. A GlideRecord object. I think in the documentation they call it the instance. Yep. Okay. So it takes an instance, which is a GlideRecord object. Oftentimes, if you're triggering this from a business rule, it's current. So look at one of my favorite business rules is incident events. Incident events, and it has a few of them. It says, hey, when an incident has been updated, inserted, well, just those two operations, then go through and find out, should I trigger the incident commented, incident inserted, incident updated, incident assigned to group. There's a whole bunch of different events that happen. And you'll notice there's current jumping out. So I can pass that information to the event processing engine. I'm not really sure what it does. It seems that I use these third and fourth parameters more often as ways to pass information to the receiver. I can use them in the email to say, this is the person that created this, or I want to send email to this person as well. Or if you're using a script action, which is the other thing that events can trigger, a script action is simply a script that's run, triggered by an event. It doesn't have, actually it does have access to current. That's what it uses it for. It passes this through as the information to that. So more useful in script actions than notifications, at least in my experience. The third and fourth argument are two string parameters. So if I look at that, parm1 and parm2 are two strings saved with the instance if specified. They're optional. You don't have to use them. Doesn't return any method. But more times than not, I use them as debugging information. So when I'm going through the log, I can find out when it was triggered, who triggered it, the record it was triggered from, that kind of information that says, Chuck triggered this on record incident 0001011. Whatever you want to put in there. It's a nice debugging tool. Did my event get triggered? Yes. Did the right event get triggered? Yes. Okay. You can also, and I've done this as well, pass more complex information as a JSON string object. So if you've got an object you want to pass 4 or 5, 10 values, an array of things, you can use JSON.stringify, put that into a big string and pass that as parm1 or parm2, then say in a script action, do a JSON.parse, put it back into an object and do your dot walking and array passing, parsing, and get that information to and from. So it's an interesting way of doing that through a JSON string. These are just string objects. You don't have to worry about is things going to get wacky or not. There is a second related way to do events, and that is scheduled. And it uses this fifth parameter. That one didn't have a fifth parameter, did it? It did, the name of the queue. You can put these into different queues. I really haven't found a use for using different event queues, so I just generally stick with the default one. If you start getting lots of events in one queue, you could possibly look at maybe it's time to use a different queue. That being said, I don't worry about it. I don't use that queue argument that often. This one doesn't use the queue. It uses a date parameter on here. It's called EventQueueScheduled. And you pass it a date and time to process the event. So they don't even have an example, for shame. What you would do is same kind of setup, the event name, an instance of a GlideRecord, 2 string parameters, and a date time object to process the event. This thread was going on about what's going on. And people were zeroing in on the date and time, saying, you might want to pass it as either get value, somebody else said get display value, pass it that way. They're instantiating a glide date time object then adding 5 minutes onto it. I'm not sure why they called it hours, because that's 60 seconds. They're adding seconds, but calling their variable hours. Seems like a bit of a crazy mismatch. And later he said, I was in the situation where I found this problem. It was the date. It was not the date, but the record parameter, the second one. And said, I tried passing nothing. It depends what you're triggering. You may need that piece of information for a script action. It contains the record in a script action. See if I can find one in here. Probably going to be script action. I have a blog article on these from a long time ago. Script actions have access to the, where is it? I thought it was current. So events are addressed through event.parm1. And there it is. Event is a glide record. This is event that caused this to happen. You can get the parameters, and current is a glide record. That's the parameter that you passed in with the event queue, or gs.eventQueueScheduled. So that's what that discussion was going on about. What other stuff did I have note about? I think I already talked about this work timestamp issue. All right. We are getting near the top of the hour. Let's do a quick refresh. I don't think there's anything new in the inbox that I need to address. Yes, no, yes. Somebody else found this helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rich, for marking that helpful on the theme. If you want the theme, it's there. I was thinking about putting this on Share. There are a couple of other themes out there on Share. But because it has bugs, and B, we're coming out with a better default theme in Madrid anyway, I thought it had limited lifespan. But you're welcome to it if you want to find that out. Bypass SSO for VRM in Portal. I think I subscribed to this yesterday. Looks like they were doing something that says public. All right, not going to dig into that too heavily today. Did I address everything I need to address today? You know what? When the content is done, the show's over. Content's done. I came here to talk about what I came here to talk about. We got a whole bunch of random stuff as well. I appreciate you joining. If you found something interesting in the video, give it a like or a helpful wherever you're watching it. If you're on YouTube, click the thumbs up button. If you're watching it on the community, click the helpful link. Very much appreciated, so that others can know that there's something useful. You learned something. You discovered something. You contributed to something. You found a helpful theme. You found it maybe even mildly entertaining. Happy to do that. Go ahead and click that. And I look forward to seeing you again here tomorrow. If all the stars align, nothing interferes, I will see you again on November 1st, 2018, right back here tomorrow. Until then, if you learned something, share it and be helpful. Take care. Bye.